All right, everybody, welcome to this workshop, this Legacy University workshop. I apologize in advance. My fancy mic's not working for some reason, so I have to use the computer mic. We have an amazing workshop for you today. It's going to be awesome. We're going to, as we normally do in Legacy, we're going to keep it super short and sweet. Keep it under an hour so that you guys can actually take something and implement it. And you don't have to sit here for hours upon hours upon hours to go do something cool in your business. So the person that I am going to introduce today is not just an amazing entrepreneur. He's a really good friend of mine. And his name is Rudy Mawer. He's known as the man in red. And you'll be able to guess that based on his intense love for the color red. That's all he does is red stuff. His podcast is Living the Red Life, which I have been on. It was super, super fun, even though he painted the mic arm red and it was stuck together from the paint and I couldn't move it. But he's I mean, all kinds of stuff. 10 years growing brands online. Top celebrity marketing expert. He does a lot of stuff with celebrities, entrepreneur and owner of 8 companies, doing tens of millions per year. His clientele include major billion-dollar brands and many A-list partners such as Floyd Mayweather, Hulk Hogan, several Olympians, NFL Super Bowl champions, Hollywood stars, and more. He's helped over 40,000 companies grow and currently runs a 100 employees. Oh my gosh, you're a masochist. 100 employees. I don't know how he does it. With board members and partners, including Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. Rudy's grown revenue to 1 million per day and spent over 300,000 per day profitably on Facebook ads. He teaches a lot about viral marketing, brand domination, and secrets of the biggest brands on the planet. So get ready to discover some of the red life. Rudy, what's up, man?
It was a great intro. It's almost like you scripted that or something.
Yeah, somebody sent me a script.
What's up, guys? What's up?
So again, I apologize for the echo. My main microphone is not working, but Rudy's going to be speaking the majority of this, so it's not going to matter. That said, again, guys, Rudy's going to show you some really cool stuff today regarding Facebook ads. We're going to keep it short and sweet so that you guys can take this and implement it. And if there's time, I'm sure Rudy would be happy to answer some questions from the chat. That said, Rudy, take it away, brother.
Cool. Thank you. Well, hey, guys, what's up? I have a kind of hybrid presentation. It's probably different to what you're expecting, but I think you'll see a lot of value out at the end of it. And I've done this, spoke on these topics several times. So look, the title is how to scale your ads, right? That's why you're here, how to spend a crazy amount of money on ads and obviously make it back. Generally, if you're spending crazy amount of money on ads, you need to be breaking even or profitable to do that. And I'm going to teach more of like a mindset shift in business that I got from billionaires and I got from working with billion-dollar brands or people that grew and exited, you know, 2, 3, 4, 500 million-dollar companies. It's very different to what you might learn in most of the little ad courses where it's how to optimize your ads, spend $10 a day on this ad set. It's very the opposite end of the spectrum of that. But my goal is to be a billionaire. So because that was my goal, to make a hell of a lot of money, I went straight to the people that were billionaires and the billion-dollar companies and reverse engineered what they did instead of looking at what the people making 7 figures do. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of great people that teach stuff, but you know, you've got to align with people that are where you want to be in life, right? So what I'm teaching you today is a different approach to scaling your ad accounts and scaling your business. And I'm sure some of you are doing some of it, some of you aren't, and it'll be super valuable. And it will shift how you change the way you look at ads, right? So share my screen. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to make it interactive. So I might ask a few questions. I know that obviously this is recorded and a lot of you are going to watch it on the recording side of it. So when I ask to put your hand up, if you're watching the recording, you're still welcome to do that. I just won't see it. And you might look a little silly in your bedroom doing it to no one, but that's up to you, okay? If you're on the Zoom and there's a raise hand button or you can just type in chat yes. that'll help me kind of get feedback. Okay. So look, the big problem to address right out the gate, and the mindset shift I'll hopefully give you instantly, is everyone that's successful making tens, hundreds of millions of dollars is not focused on day one revenue. Everyone that's running ads and making $1 million a year or $2 million a year is just focused on day one revenue, right? So most people are running ads and they're spending 100, 200, 500, 1,000, $5,000 a day, small amounts, right? And they want to spend 5,000 a day and make back 10,000, which is totally fine and great to do. But you have to realize there's so much more to make on what we call the back end. And if you want to spend a considerable amount and grow a company past 10 million, or you want to grow a company to 50, 100, 200 million, or you want to grow your current company quicker, maybe just to a few million, you have to look long-term, not just short-term. You have to look outside the ad manager, and you have to look at lifetime value. So it's important to understand going into this that a strong back-end ascension model, i.e. where you take customers on a journey, is going to always outperform what you're looking at on day one, okay? And if you really get that right, what I'm going to talk about today, it lets you go in the red, right? My brand colors lets you go in the red on the front end, and you can make way more money on the back end, and you can scale much quicker, and you can scale more profitably. And then if Facebook jacks up the CPMs, or in Q4 everything goes up, you're not as impacted. You're only impacted if you're so focused on day one profit. And one of the biggest mindset shifts I got from several people that had built and sold $100-200 million companies, or even a couple of billionaires, is look at the front end and the ads today to acquire customers and leads, not to make all the profit in your business. And I think as an entrepreneur, we start out with one employee, which is ourselves, right? And then we hire a couple of freelancers, and we start spending a few hundred a day. We're trying to make money on day one. That's what I was doing. And back in the day, I scaled a fitness company to 20 grand a day, a few million a year, like in my early 20s, and I was making 5 grand a day. That's harder to do these days, right? So you have to change the way you're looking at your ads. You have to change the way you're looking at your business. You have to use the front end to acquire the leads, right? And you have to look at the back end revenue, right? And I think, Dan saw that because obviously his whole venture now is focused on closers, right? And why are closers there? Well, they're not on a Facebook ad selling a $19 product. They're behind the scenes selling thousands of dollars of products, right? So, and if you look at most of the big players in our space, for example, right? Russell Brunson, for example, he doesn't care about the first sign up or the first $97. He does all the affiliate launches and stuff. But why does he do that? Well, how much do you think Russell Brunson makes on lifetime value on a ClickFunnels membership? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, right? If you look at Grant Cardone, he doesn't care about the $500 course sale. What does he care about? He cares about people coming in his ecosystem, paying 20 grand, then 50 grand, then come into the event, and then invest in $500,000 in capital, right? That's how he's making his money. So if you look at every big player in this space, they're not focused on day one, they're focused on the long term, okay? And the $1 billion brands do this well. So who here has an Apple device of any kind? Just raise your hand if you do, or put in chat yes if you do. So I'm guessing most of you do. If you don't, you probably have an Android or something similar, right? Now the question becomes, how much do you pay for that first product, that iPhone, right? Probably $1,000 on average, okay? And the question I want you to answer in chat if you're live is, how much will you spend with Apple or Android or whatever your phone maker is right now? How much will you spend with that parent company over your lifetime? Just guess, right? I'll just take a couple of numbers, okay? Couple of numbers. How much will you spend with Apple if you have an iPhone or whatever you have over a lifetime? There's no right or wrong answer. Just take a guess. Okay, 10K, one person said. 15K, Brian said. What else? What else do you guys think? How much will you spend with Apple over a lifetime? I've probably spent way more than that already, right? I've probably spent, I don't know. I mean, I have Red Max in my entire office. So I probably spent well over 100 grand on Red Max in my office. Yeah, so you're 10K this year, right, Kevin? 40 grand easily. You've spent 10K in the last 24 months. So over a lifetime, some of you are way over 100 grand, right? Think about it. So if you're the CMO, right, of Apple, you're the head of marketing, or say you're the media buyer, the head media buyer, you're running the ads. How much can you run to sell an iPhone, right? How much can you spend to acquire a customer at Apple? Well, is it the price of an iPhone, right? Is it $1,000 to sell the iPhone? Or is it much more, right? Because they know there's going to be people like me, Rudy, that have spent way over 100 grand. There's going to be people like Kevin that's easily going to spend 40K, or Brian that's spent 15, right? And then there's some people that have spent 10 grand just in the last year or two. So billion-dollar brands have been playing this game for a very long time. Why do you think Apple has all of these different products, right? So we as entrepreneurs that haven't been brought into this world have to learn this. We have to learn the game of business and the way to run a business, and learn it doesn't have to be lots of products. It might just be one great offer, but you have different tiers, for example, right? You have a way to ascend people. So it's super important, okay? Next one is Netflix, right? Who here's got Netflix or Amazon Prime? Most of you, right? So if I'm running ads for Netflix, and this is the payment plans, right? There's $8, $11, $15, $14, whatever, right? How much can I spend to get one customer to sign up and take a trial for Netflix? Is it $10? Well, that's a low CPA, right? The average person's, their LTV is way over a year, right? On average, it's about 2 years or just beyond that, right? And over time, that's going to keep increasing as people stay longer and longer with Netflix. So Netflix might make $300, $400, $500, $1,000 a customer, and they could easily spend more than the $10 to make that first sale, and they'll happily do so, okay? So next part I'm going to show you is cruise ships are awesome at this, right? I've been on lots of cruises, done my market research, and the way cruise ships work is just how we should build businesses as entrepreneurs. So they create these irresistible offers, right? And Dan spoke for a long time about creating these strong offers on the front end, right? And strong offers that pull people in. That's what I've done successfully. Many times I built many businesses, and the funnels and ads that go to $1 million real quick are really strong offers. And the stuff that flops is not a strong offer, right? Even if sometimes I thought it was. So who's been on a cruise here? Just say yes in chat if you've been on a cruise. Few of you maybe been on a cruise. So cruise ships are fascinating because at first glance, when I first moved to America, they seem super cheap, right? It's like, hey, and I didn't have much money. I go, well, I can go on a 7-night cruise, $500. I get my food. I get all my, I get to view all these nice locations. I get my hotel. Well, that's cheaper than a hotel in Miami, right? So it's a crazy deal. That's how it is presented on the front end. But this is the reality, right? The reality is that $473 offer becomes something like this, right? You realize that the $473 is for a box room, right? So you have to upgrade to a window or a balcony, or you're like in this like prison cell room that's really shitty. So you have to upgrade there. Okay, that's 400 more. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but my girlfriend or several of my girlfriends over the years have always said, we can't stay on that floor. We got to go to this floor. We got to go to this location. So you have to then pay to move rooms, right? And then, of course, as an entrepreneur, you got to pay Wi-Fi, $200, or right, if you're, in a 9 to 5 and you hate your job and you hate your life and you're having a 1-week escape, you're going to take selfies and videos and photos every day to make all your colleagues jealous. So you got to pay for Wi-Fi. Most people are then drinking, right? And they're buying a drink package. After a few days of the buffet, you get bored. So you upgrade to a restaurant. And then what cruises are very good at is they drop you off, if you've never been on it, they drop you off on a part of the island that is full of either nothing, right? It's a jungle. Or if you go out of the complex where the cruise ship is, there's like pirates waiting, right? And they're going to, steal stuff from you, mug you, or they're going to kidnap you and ransom you off, right? So you have to pay for an excursion on the ship, right? And it's going to cost 5 times more than if you just were in the Caribbean paying at a resort. So you have these crazy excursion fees, and then you have to buy a photo package because they're doing photos the whole time. They're doing photos with a captain. They have a fancy, dress up night that everyone gets dressed up. It's all pre-planned. Okay. And then you get bored on the day on sea, and they have a shopping. They have this flash sale and everyone's shopping on the ship. And then the day before the ship ends, everyone's miserable. Okay, everyone's miserable and they want to book their next cruise because they're going back to a miserable job the next day. So they upsell you on the next cruise, and then you might return for many more years, right, over time, and spend a lot of money. So if you look, right, that $500 original sign up that looked irresistible is not so irresistible anymore. It became a $5,000 product, right? And if you come back over time, you might spend 10, 20, 30, 40 grand on going on cruise ships, okay? So it's going to vary and it's going to expand over time. So again, how are they running the ads, right? They're willing to spend more than $500 to make a sale. So just imagine if you guys could take a $50 buyer and turn it into a $500 buyer. What would that do for your business? So let me know, what is your average, if you're watching this live, what is your average ticket price? If you're watching this recorded, write it down for me, okay? Just write it down on a piece of paper. What is your average ticket price? What are you selling something for? Okay, so we have $1,000, 1K, 1K, and there's probably a mix, right? Some of you have $50 offers, some of you have 1,000, some of you have 2,000, 5,000, 6,000. Good. So it's a mix, right? A mix of different offers, different price points. Okay. So imagine now if you add a 0 to that number. Okay. Whatever you wrote in, add a 0 to it. Imagine if you were able to make that amount of money over a lifetime for every single customer. Okay. How would that change your business and life? A few of you are in chat. That's great. Appreciate that, Brian, Stephen, everyone else. How would that change your life, right? How would that change your life if you're able to add a 0 to that number? Okay, your business would 10x, right? Basic math. If you were, able to increase the customer value by 10x, okay? And some of you are, more agency high ticket, right? So for you might not add a 0 to it, but you might take, 120K a year. You might be able to double that, for example, right? Or you might be able to add a higher tier where it becomes 20K a month, right? And now you're making 240K a year, for example. So you guys would all have way more money in your bank accounts, probably a way better life, way better business, way more profit if you're able to increase the value of every customer, okay? And this is one way that we do it, right? Which is multiple touch points with your ads and your funnels and your landing pages. So generally you'll start, right, with one great funnel. So it might be ads to a low ticket, right? It might be ads to a VSL, whatever that method is, right? And there's no right or wrong. Every different types of businesses and there's different types of funnels and people have different preferences, right? Like, some people like one type of car, some people like another type of car. End of the day, the car needs to go from A to Z. If you have a funnel, you need to be able to drive traffic and convert that traffic, right? And there's different types of funnels depending on what type of traffic it is, right? And there's different types of cars depending on what you want. Off-road, sports cars, SUVs, for example. So you're going to generally start with that one funnel, right? But what's important is you start eventually to create this web, this ecosystem, right? And this is just one of our funnels, right? And what I did, if you look, is I showed all these different ways that we're adding revenue into the business, okay? And if I get rid of these red circles, pay attention to those numbers on top, right? Because this was an example over like a 90-day window. And what I want to emphasize to you guys, right, is we ran ads here, okay? And then we ran them here to a product, okay? And that product might make $1 million, okay? But then what we did is everyone that came in that product, we did all these different things with them, okay? And I'm highlighting under it all the revenue we created from that initial customer base or that initial leads and all these different things we did, okay? And this generated way more than that initial $1 million, right? It doubled or tripled or 4x what we created. And this is the secret, in my opinion, to scaling your ads, okay? And I am going to get into some ad tactics later on, but I wanted to give you the foundational stuff first because it's really the most important stuff. It's what no one really teaches you on the ad level, right? Everyone talks about creative, CBO, ad sets, blah, 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 blah. I can teach you that in 10 minutes. But what's super important that all the biggest guys are doing, or gals, right, is they're able to do what I just showed here and what I've showed in those past slides, right? So Sorry, my thing jumped around. So you might say, okay, Rudy, that's great. I understand. Okay, I've got to, take my customers and start selling more to them, or increase my prices, or increase my revenue per customer. And it's called lifetime value. So how do you track it? Well, it's super important, because if you don't know what it currently is and you don't know how to track it, you can't measure it. And if you don't know how to measure it, you can't improve it. You can't be a marketer and improve it, right? So you need to be able to measure it. You need to be able to track it. Why? Because if you're going to spend 10 grand a day on ads, and then you need to know, well, hey, that 10 grand I spent, I might make 10 grand back today, right? But I know I make another 50 grand from that cohort, that group of customers over the next 5 months, for example. So that helps answer this $1 million question of how much can I afford to spend to acquire a new customer? How much can I afford to spend to acquire a new customer? And that will combat changes in the ad manager, competitors, increases in CPMs, etc. So one question I pose is, Disney has its fireworks. What do you have? Who knows why Disney has fireworks? Can anyone tell me in chat? Anyone let me know in chat why? If you get it right, I'll have my team make a bunch of ads for you and set up your ads for you as a prize. If anyone can get this right in chat, okay? So we're getting close, okay? Why did Disney, right, invent fireworks?
You mean at the end of their at the end of
the day,
yeah.
Yeah, they do this big celebration, right? And one thing I always ask when I ask this question is, think about if you understand how boardrooms work and big corporate companies. One day someone walked in and said, I got a great idea. We're going to run fireworks every single day of the year at the end of the park. And I'm sure the CFO and the COO go, so that's a terrible idea. The operational execution needed to run this massive firework display every day. And the CFO goes, well, you know how much that's going to cost in fireworks, right? So they don't do that for the benefit of their health, right? They don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Sadly, they don't do it because they want to be the most magical place on earth, or wherever, the happiest place on earth. Why did Disney have their fireworks? Well, Disney realized after a while that at 3:00 everyone was leaving the park because it's in Florida.
I just realized it, Rudy. Go ahead. I know what you're gonna say now that you mentioned it. I think I can guess, but I'll let you go.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So look, it gets hot in Florida. The kids are screaming. They've got all these nice resorts now. They go in the morning and then it starts to rain. Everyone leaves the park. So what happens when the park's open till, say, 8, 9, 10 p.m., right? But people are leaving 2/3 of the way through the park. Well, what happens? Well, they're losing 1/3, right? 1/3 of the money spent in the park over that course of a day. If someone spends the whole day there, people are going back and they're having dinner outside the park. They're not buying sweets, the candy. They're not buying drinks. They're not buying photos. They're not buying souvenirs. They're not buying toys. So they go and, walk into a boardroom one day and they go, how do we get people to stay in the parks until the end of the park to increase lifetime value, to increase the amount of spend per customer? Because we know there's a direct correlation between time in the park, revenue per customer. Okay. And they also know revenue per customer comes up, they become more profitable as an entire company, right? And their forecasting and budgeting and everything and all their problems go away and their stock goes up. Okay. So they go, well, let's throw this massive firework display at the end of every night that everyone either comes back to, or they stay the whole time because they want to stay to the fireworks at the end of the park. And several times I've gone to the park and someone said, right, a girl I've gone with, girlfriend, whatever, I want to stay to the end to watch the fireworks. So Disney has its fireworks. And my question to you, right, everyone watching this live or recorded, what are you doing to make this happen in your business? What are you doing to maximize lifetime value and retention in your business so customers stay forever and they spend all the money in your park? They don't spend the money in other people's park. Okay, and that's a big question we have to ask as a marketer, because as marketers, we're so focused on day one. We're so focused on day one revenue, right? We're not focused on keeping that customer and making revenue over time. And that's really the key to ads, okay? And I want to
Rudy, can I just say that was an amazing analogy? And that was, guys, you should really let what Rudy just said sink in, because that is a massive lesson for your business. If you didn't understand all these numbers before, that should make it clear to you. That is huge what he just said. So just if you remember one thing, I think that would be it.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. So look, this is a real life visual representation, right? This is from an e-commerce brand as an example, but it's the same in higher ticket, right? Some of you had $1,000 product, right? Well, the way the person comes in and how they come in and what they buy dictates what they spend over time. And this is an advanced tracking system that shows this. So what I want you guys to understand here is people come in and bought the exact same product, and all the different color lines are changes in revenue per customer. Okay, so you can see some people paid what, $30 here, right? Some people paid around $45, $50, and some people paid around $70, right? So what's changing here? Well, it's what they're taking from order bumps and upsells, for example, right? But then what I want you guys to really understand is the people here, for example, that took the exit pop-up. They took a discount code. Guess how much they spent over the course of a lifetime? Can you see this? Or over 90 days? There's a 90-day life cycle. Do you see how much more they spent over 90 days? The answer is 0. Okay? So those customers that were cheap, that weren't going to buy, and then when they got the $10 off exit pop-up, guess what? They stayed cheap forever and they didn't buy anything else ever again. But the customers that were the opposite of cheap, right? They bought everything. Can you see that up here? Look what they spent. They doubled their spend over 90 days, right? So, and you can see here, there's all these different variations, right? Dependent on what product they bought, or if they came from Facebook ads or Google ads, but the trend line is going up, right? And that's because we have different ways to increase our customer value and our customer spend. And that's so important with ads, because if I'm running my ads and say I pay $50 to acquire a customer, if I spend $50 to acquire a customer and I make between $30 and $70, that's great. But if I make $180, right, I just 4x or 3x my ad spend. That's the easiest way to scale your ads, and it's not got anything to do with the image you pick on the ads or the CBO setting or the budget setting, right? The easiest way to increase your income from ads and your revenue of a company is increase everything that happens after the ads. You can't bring Mark Zuckerberg and say, hey, dude, I'm running my ads and they're getting expensive and I need to lower the spend a little because I only sell $1,000 product and I'm now paying $200 a lead, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't care, right? He doesn't care what your financials are, and you can't lower it that much. But what you can control, right? You can't control Facebook, but you can control your own business. You can control everything you do after you get the customer. So I really want to illustrate that and highlight and show that your customers are going to interact differently. They're going to spend more. They're going to spend more differently, different buying patterns depending on what they bought on day one, okay? And this is just a different visual representation of that, right? Day 0, what they spend, and then day 90, what they spend, right? And this shows how much they're adding per channel they came in, right? So for example, Facebook, Google, YouTube, right? Instagram, okay? So where the customer comes from is also going to dictate what they spend. If someone comes to Disney and they bought a buy one, get one free ticket, do you think they're going to spend as much as someone that buys the VIP full day ticket? Think about that. Someone buys a discount Disney ticket, they're probably going to spend 5 or 10 times less than the person that buys the VIP ticket. So then it becomes, well, how do I get those customers? How do I get more of those customers, right? So how well do you guys know your lifetime value, right? How well do you know what you make per customer? How much do you know per customer and per source? So think about that, right? So let's see how long you guys can stay in the game, okay? I'm the red guy at the front. So answer in chat if you're watching this live, okay? So how does everyone know here how much they pay, okay, per customer? Answer the question if you can in chat. if you're watching this live. If you're watching this on recording, take these down because these are all numbers you should know. So does everyone here in chat, yes, a simple yes or no, do you know how much you pay per customer? Hopefully you all know this number, right? You know, if I'm spending money on ads, how much am I paying per lead or per customer? So write that in the chat, okay? And if you're watching this recording, write this down because if you don't know this, you need to go away and know it, okay? Next question. How much is my AOV? Okay, you should also know this, right? You should know this. How much do I make back per customer? Okay, you can't run ads if you don't know those two questions. If you don't know how much you're spending to make the sale or get the lead that then converts, and you don't know how much you're making back, it's impossible to run ads, okay? Next is 7 days. Okay, how much do I make within the first 7 days? How long does it take to close? What's the average close rate, etc. After that, 30 days, okay? How well am I upgrading them, ascending them, okay? How well am I getting referrals to get more customers, right? And that came from that client. Am I getting them to pay in full? Am I getting them to join a VIP program? What about 6 months, right? 180 days. How much am I making at the 180-day mark from that customer, okay? And then if you want to get more advanced, how much am I making per channel? Okay, if someone buys from a Facebook ad, Google ads, Instagram ads, knowing all these numbers helps you scale because you might go, oh, well, Instagram ads, I have a 25% close rate on my sales team. But Facebook ads, I have a 7% close rate and I'm spending the same money. Well, if I could spend 3 times more on Instagram and I'll lower my ad spend on Facebook, my business just tripled because my close rate's triple. But if you don't track that stuff, you're just blending the numbers. You're going, well, my close rate's 12%, right? But actually it's 7% on Facebook and it's 25% on Instagram. So knowing those variants are important, right? If it's close rate, maybe it's conversion rate, maybe it's cost per lead, right? Depends what bit you're all in different businesses, so different examples, okay? And then the really advanced question, right, is what is the best way to upgrade people, to increase that, right? What is the best way to keep increasing that revenue? Well, if I send these emails on day 7, it works really well. And then I host a challenge on day 22, right? And then on day 30, I host a 3-day countdown email sequence with last chance to buy, okay? And then on day 45, I have my sales reps ringing them. And all these different tactics we do as marketers, super important. We know how well the results, how well it's working, and what it's doing to increase our revenue. And then we manipulate those. We stop the bad things and we do more of the good things. And again, that's how we can spend a crazy amount on ads because we're making all this money on the back end, okay? So finally, right, can you pull all of these stats? And are you using them to make the right decisions, okay? You should get to a point if you want to scale your ads that you know all of this other back-end stuff. Most people just look in the ad manager, but that's not good enough. You're never going to spend 300 grand a day like I have, okay, if you can't look at the entire business, okay? So look, it's fun activity going through all those, okay? But the brands, the businesses in here watching this today and the brands in the world that make the most per customer will always win, okay? They'll always win. The brands that can pay the most on Facebook or on any ad platform or media platform will always win. So if you only make X amount and you don't do all the things I said today, Facebook ads will always feel hard. They'll never work for you because you'll never be able to scale, right? Because you'll say, Rudy, I'm spending $100 a day and it was great, or 500 a day or 1,000. But when I started spending 5,000, nothing really couldn't scale. It wasn't working. My cost was too high. But that's because that's called economics of scale. It's always going to happen. Sometimes in your benefit when you're buying inventory, sometimes in a negative way when you're trying to buy more ad space, you get diminishing returns. Well, how do you combat that? Yes, you can try images and headlines and audiences, and I'm going to talk about that at the end. But what will make a biggest difference is what I just taught today, okay? At the end of the day, if you spend $100 to make a $100 sale and make $400 over the next 60, 90, 180 days, you're at a 4x ROAS. You're never going to manipulate your ads if you've already got good ads to ever get a boost like that, okay? One of my companies, we make 10 times more after 30, 60, 90 days and 15 times more after 6 months. We're never going to lower our ads cost, but we're never going to go from a $50 CPA to a $5 CPA. It's impossible. Or a $100 lead to a $10 lead. It just doesn't work like that if you've already got your ads decent, rightly set up. There's no way to get it that much lower, but there is ways to increase it on the back end, okay? So most of us agree this is important, but a small percent know the numbers, okay? So 3 things, right? So I wanted to make this workshop style. 3 things you need to do, you need to do after today to implement this into your entire business, okay? You should have 3 questions. So what can I sell? What can I sell to increase it, okay? Well, you might have coaching, right? If you don't, you can sell coaching or group calls. You might be able to add a done for you element, okay? Easy way if you've got coaching to increase revenues, add a done for you element, okay? You can white label it, for example. You don't have to do it. If you're in e-commerce, you can sell related products. You can sell bundles. You can sell more of the same products. You can sell subscription plans to increase it, okay? How do we increase lifetime value and sell more? Well, there's 100 different ways, right? You can upsell, you can cross-sell at checkout, you can add order bumps, you can have an appointment setting team, you can bring in a phone sales team, you can have a customer service number where you're also selling there, you can add it to your website, your checkout page, you can run retargeting ads to buyers, you can have return email sequences. If you're selling physical products, you can put coupons and discounts in the packages. You can send physical mail. And this is high ticket too. Dan Kennedy and Russell and people used to send physical mail, Frank Kern, all the time with 25, 50K offers, okay? You can do multi-channel ads, okay? Ads on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google, YouTube, and be everywhere like I am. You can do SMS. You can text people. You can create partnerships and JVs. You can do affiliates, okay? You can do info products, high margin info products. You can build a membership. You can add reward points where people keep coming back, right? Think about the pizza places, ice creams. Every time you go in, they mark a card. The list goes on. It's endless. That's the point, is endless ways to make money. On the Facebook side, it is not endless. On the Facebook side, there's only a few ways to optimize, okay? And then finally, how to track it, right? You've got softwares like Hyros, LTV. You can hire a data scientist. You can have your tech guy pull reports. And at a more basic level, that's not as ideal, you can pull reports on Stripe and then dashboards like Shopify. But it's really important you're tracking it, measuring it, optimizing it based on that, okay? So hopefully big picture, right? I've got a few more points to go over, but big picture, you've understood that the biggest thing you can do to boost your ads and make hopefully millions of dollars with your ads and make them more profitable is outside the ad manager. It's everything else on the back end, but I am going to cover how, the technical side to finish on how we're spending hundreds of thousands a day. Okay. I took my own company to spending 10, 20, 30K a day. And then across my agencies, we've spent over 300K a day. The biggest account, we were spending over 200K a day. And I've been doing that for 10 years. So what are the biggest things? Well, like I said, outside the ad manager, funnels, right? Landing pages, price, upsells, AOV, getting the AOV right, getting the copy right, understanding the avatar. That's all got to be dialed in. So many times I've audited thousands of ad accounts, okay? 90% of the time I'm like, hey, your funnel sucks, your offer sucks, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter how good you are at ads. Even if I ran your ads myself, I couldn't make this work, blah, 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 blah. You've got to get everything dialed in first before trying to run ads. You've then got to keep optimizing the copy and the messaging and optimizing it to make a purchase, right? You've got to test different story copy versus bullet point copy, and you've got to stay compliant. You've got to test different hooks and angles, okay? So I always say, when you're trying to scale your ads, try 12 different ways to attack it, right? 12 different hooks, because not all of them are going to resonate. Most of the time, you'll write 1 or 2 ad variations, and then maybe your agency will write more variations of that. But if they don't work and they're not winners, they're going to flop. So you got to try all these different variations, okay? Next is avatar subsets. So this is when, hey, you've got a winning offer. It's super easy to scale by creating subsets, okay? So Dan's a great example, right? He maybe builds out sales teams Well, if sales teams are working for high ticket coaches, he might go, I'm going to now do sales teams for HVAC. And if that's working, I'm going to do sales teams for pool cleaning companies and pool builders, right? And then if that works, I'm going to do it for these other 10 local services. So that's what's called avatar subsets. And his ads would probably do better eventually if he's running some ads for HVAC, some ads for pool cleaning, some ads for high ticket coaches, some ads where he builds sales teams for software companies, some ads where he builds sales teams for personal trainers. So they're creating subsets and creating tailored copy and design around all of that, okay? One thing that's also important is dialing in your winners. So when you get one winning ad, go and create 10 more variations. So if you've got a winning ad where it's a selfie photo of you, right? Go and take a selfie photo in 10 different backdrops, okay? Because maybe the winner is a selfie photo of you, right? Maybe it's not, okay? If you've got a winner where you're sat in a Lamborghini, go and sit in 10 other sports cars. If you've got a winning ad where you say, everyone is stupid in this industry, do this one thing instead, then write 10 more variations about that and do a video about everyone being stupid and hold up a sign that says everyone's stupid, do this one thing instead, okay? So you're creating lots of variations based off a winner, okay? It's super important. And again, it's not a technical setup. It's the way you have your system built out and the mindset and the variations and the creativity around the ad account, okay? And that's what I always try and emphasize. People, you kind of come to a session like this and you think, hey, is it the audiences? What is the setup way? Is there a secret headline that's going to work or a secret image or a setting in the ad manager? It's none of that stuff, okay? Agencies tell you that because they want to sell you on their service, but really it's the overall psychology and the ability to do all these things correctly that will make your ads work, okay? So when it comes to budgeting, testing, how much to spend, this is obviously a very common funnel, right? What we talk about. So it's different levels or tiers. So top of funnel is people that don't know, like, and trust you. They don't know who you are. People say you can run ads to cold traffic. You can warm them up, do videos, webinars, opt-ins, blogs. If you have a great offer, I run straight to purchase. 90% of the time, I run straight to purchase. If it's low ticket, if it's high ticket, i.e. 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, I run straight to a webinar, a VSL, an application, a lead capture where they're booking a call or the phone team are reaching out, okay? And just so you know, I sell anything from $50 up to like 150,000, okay? So $50 up to 150,000. Many of my medium or higher tiers are 20K, 50K, 100K, and then 150K, okay? Middle of funnel, so that's where people might have watched some of your stuff, clicked your post, know who you are. Maybe you're sending them back to a product page, maybe back to an opt-in, maybe it's a retargeting video. And then bottom of funnel are buyers, right? People that bought, or maybe people that had a sales call, nearly bought, depends what industry you're in and what you're selling. But you can run more personal ads, more call to actions. Hey, you, I saw you didn't sign up yet. Hey, you, last chance, right? Hey, here's 20% off to get you to pull the trigger. Hey, still struggling with your ads? Well, click here to book another call, for example, okay? How do we do the campaign structure? Well, we get more and more technical now, down kind of the Facebook ad rabbit hole to finish. The last few slides, and then I'll do questions. Different types of campaigns you can set up. Again, the answer is you need everything else in place first, and then these things will start to matter. So CBO campaigns are great to scale fast, but you're going to lose some money in the early days. This is where you can set a budget. Hey, I want to pay $50 per product sale, and it will try and run ads just at that cap cost, okay? This is where you just let it run, and then you're just monitoring it, okay? It's auto bidding. And then this is similar target cost where you're telling it your rough goal, okay? Or your target ROAS or your ROAS goal. So if you look in an ad manager, there's 3 tabs, okay? These 4 things are the things you're going to manipulate and change on tab 1, the campaign level. And then the second level, okay, I'm trying to make this super easy to understand. The middle level is the ad set level. This is where you're going to mostly manipulate audiences. So you're going to change audiences. You're going to split test lookalikes, lookalike 5%, different interest audiences. You're going to try setting it up as a dynamic ad versus a static ad. You're going to try placement. You're going to try, hey, I'm going to try Facebook only. I'm going to try Instagram only. I'm going to try everything. Okay. And you're going to change the cost setting, right? So if you're using this one here, you're going to set up the price. Okay. So if you're using cap cost, you're maybe going to say, I'm going to try some at $50 max, some at $60 max, some at $70 max. Okay. And then the final level is where you're going to do all your creative testing. Okay. Final level create. So you're going to split test images. You're going to split test videos. You're going to split test headlines, and you're going to split test the body copy. And these are all things you got, all these tiers you should be manipulating and you should be testing. And that again is the secret to ads. Okay. It's not it's not one setting. It's the ability to keep testing and mixing and matching and combining all these different creatives and strategies and bidding types together that will lower your CPA, or it will lower your cost per lead. And it should bring in more qualified people. But none of that means anything, right? It's all BS. If your offer sucks, your landing page sucks, you make a sale and then make no more money, because eventually, as you scale, your ROAS will come down. And then you have to keep increasing your revenue per customer to counter that, okay? Okay, last couple of slides, and then I have time for questions. This is a good visual that I use to show how I take one winning ad and increase it quickly, okay? So I might have a winning image, say it's a winning image of me taking a selfie photo, okay? Or it's a winning image of me on the backdrop of an ocean, okay? What I'm going to do is take that one winning image and I'm going to run a lookalike of website traffic, a lookalike of Instagram engagement, a lookalike of my email list, okay? I'm going to take it and set up a lookalike that it just does on auto bid, right? And then I'm going to take another campaign and I'm going to set some at a $50 max bid, a $60 max bid, a $70 max bid, an $80 max bid, a $90 max bid, right? And then I might do another campaign, right? Call it winning ad, okay? And I'm going to do a selfie of me in 10 different locations. And if it's a picture of me on the ocean, great. I'm going to do a picture of me in 10 different spots on the beach, right? Because maybe it's the beach backdrop that won. Who knows, okay? So, and I'm just using these examples, right? If you were selling a physical product and it was a user-generated content video where someone was doing an unboxing video, you might go, wow, this actor's so good, I'm going to hire them to do 10 more videos. Or you might go, hey, this actor's not that special, but I'm going to do 10 more user-generated content pieces where I hire 10 more actors to do unboxing videos. The point is you find a winner and then you expedite it. You increase it by doing all these variations. That's super important if you want to scale your ads, okay? So just to summarize, what it takes to really scale, okay? Strong couple of ads, okay? You want some winning ads that you can spend a lot of money on with a lot of social proof, and then you keep creating variations. You're doing new tests daily eventually. When we were spending $200,000-300 grand a day, I had an overnight team, and we were setting up 40 new ads a day because we were spending so much, okay? We take our top performers with social proof and keep boosting them with different audiences. We keep our funnel optimized, low page load, Q&A in it daily when we're spending that much. We're doing CRO on it constantly, trying to increase the conversion rate. We're trying to pick larger audiences because if you're trying to spend a lot, it fatigues if it's too small. We would keep increasing our back end, our lifetime value. Obviously, eventually you have to make sure fulfillment and inventory is in place when you do scale, because I scale some brands and then they break apart because they run out of inventory, or they don't have a big enough coaching team, or they run out of sales reps, okay? And then trying different bidding styles and different campaign structure, okay? Last part, everyone always asks me, well, how do you monitor this, Rudy? Well, every 4 days, every 3-4 days, we're looking at our ads. When we're spending a crazy amount, more 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a day, we're monitoring it daily. We want to increase budget slower, right? And then on ad set level ads and faster on CBO level ads. On big accounts, right? Big accounts, like when I was spending 200 grand a day, we would have CBO ads, and every day we would manipulate it, adding hundreds of dollars per hour or $500 every 4 hours and seeing how it would do, okay? When you cancel ads every 30 days or every 2 weeks, we go back and restart them because sometimes they just fatigued, and you restart them and they start working. Like I said, on bigger spends, 5, 10, 20 grand a day or more, start checking it daily, especially if your account goes down or your landing page breaks, okay? And once you start spending over 10K, we like to split the ad spend across a couple of accounts, okay? Campaign budget optimization is, everyone asked me about this, it's good when you've got broader spends, when you've got a broader offer and you know the winning ads, okay? When you want to test more granular to start, we do ad set budget where you create everything at the ad set level. And then when we found winners, we scale it at the campaign level, okay? Same dynamic ads. People ask, Rudy, is this better or worse? This takes a bunch of ads and mix and mashes them, okay? Again, it's great if you throw a good few winning variations together. If you want to really test individual ads and you want the data, then sometimes we don't do this at the start because it's hard to get the right data, okay? Cap cost, I explained. So you can set target goals. Hey, I want leads at $50, opt-ins at $10. I want to sell my supplement at $50, and then we'll test a few tiers, okay? And then if we get everything I talked about today correct, how do we 10x that? That's always the question, right? Well, you're taking the winners, putting them in big CBOs. It's really great to scale if you've got longer term, evergreen, broader offers. We do multiple ad accounts. We'll take our best ad sets and duplicate them 2-3 times. Cap cost is great, especially on e-commerce, setting different price tiers of $40 tier, $50, $60 tiers. We're taking our best images and throwing them in a big group, a CBO dynamic, and putting that like $2,000 a day or $1,000 a day with an aggressive amount because we know it's going to work. And obviously we're monitoring it. Okay. So just to wrap up, next steps for you guys. Okay. Work to improve your lifetime value. After today, think about how are all the ways I can increase my lifetime value. Okay. What are all the ways I can use, right, to increase how much I make per customer, okay? Next is build a better ascension model, okay? So create a structure where people that want to pay you more can pay you more. Some of you already have that, I'm sure. And charge higher prices, have higher ticket, okay? Don't be scared to go in the red, okay? If you want to scale aggressively and you want to spend a lot, it's okay to not make it all back on day one as long as you make it back over time. Test lots of creatives, keep testing. And then I did say to Daniel, we have a really crazy offer on our front end where we'll do your ads to set up, launch them, and then we'll show you how we did it and what we did and how to optimize them for $97. So I said I would extend that offer here. We'll set up that page for you guys. If any of you want to meet with my team, see how we set up the offers. And there's the link if you guys want to do that. No stress, of course. I don't really make much from it, but it's a good entry level into our world of red. So I hope that helped, guys. I hope that changed your mindset around building your brand to scale and how you use ads to scale. And I have some quick time for questions, but I know it was a lot, but hopefully you got some value from it and it changed your perspective a little.
Cool.
So there it is.
And then we, you know, on these workshops, we normally, oh, it's all dark now. I just realized that. Guys, as you know, we don't really pitch a lot of stuff on these workshops. Since it was only $97, I thought I would have Rudy share it. Rudy, you got the link that I can just put in the chat.
Yeah, I'll grab it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we don't make money on that, guys. It's more just an entry into our world. You'll meet with my team and stuff, and
as demonstrated by the presentation, he definitely doesn't make money on it. If that's the one thing you should learn.
but it's good in reality. It's good for you guys to go through it to see how we do everything we talked about today, right? You don't have to buy anything, but like you can see all the touch points. You can see the follow-up systems. And like, I'm not here to make money from you guys. I would love for you to model it. Obviously, don't copy it word for word like some people try, but I would love for you to model it. I would love for you to see it. You know, I've spent 10 years building this and I like helping people. So I wish I had known all this 10 years ago. So hopefully you can go, oh, that's a great idea. I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I hope that helps you guys.
Cool, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the chat for Rudy. And guys, this right here is, you know, this is some advanced stuff. And This is the stuff that can create you a big company if you understand it. So, if you're one of the people who's just getting started, don't forget that, when you initially build your stuff out, you're going to start somewhere, but knowing where you're going, knowing like, hey, what will this look like in the future when I try to make this big is good, because if you don't know where you're going, it's kind of hard to get there. And
Well,
so
they always say build with the end in mind, right?
yes,
That's what the
yes,
billionaires say.
yes, exactly. Build with the end in mind. And that's why me personally, what I generally do is if I have a whole sequence of stuff that I want to do, I'll come up with like a high ticket product first. I might get some people into it that are low hanging fruit with just general organic setting calls. And then when I want to pour the gas on it, I'll create, like you guys see, I have books that I sell. People buy the books, and then there's upsells to the books, and we know how much we're going to make off that front end, so we know how much we can spend. And like, look, if you ever buy my pocket guide to high ticket selling, you're going to get a phone call from us. You're going to get emails. You're going to get retargeting. Like, this is just the stuff that's going to happen. And Rudy's built it a lot bigger than I have. Rudy's very different than I am. Rudy wants to be a billionaire. I'm a Floridian that wears sandals, so I'm happy with my.
Well, I wear sandals too. Like I got them on right here.
So, but guys, if any questions specifically about the presentation or anything that you got for Rudy, I know that was a lot. So, one question I have, Rudy, is let's say somebody's new and they're just getting started, right?
Yeah.
What should they like? They want to build out a version of this that's simple, that's small, because maybe they don't have the sales team, they don't have all the back end stuff. So what would you just suggest to somebody who is brand new, who's getting their offer up and running? Because if somebody had their stuff going for a while, they're going to understand all this and they're going to be like, what would you explain to that person?
Yeah, look, if you're brand new today, well, I promise it will save you millions of dollars, because I didn't know this when I started. I'm sure Dan didn't. And then it's like we sold one thing, had all these customers, and then realized we could have sold these way higher things and way more things, way more expensive things, and charge more. And we look back and we're like, wow, we lost millions of dollars because we didn't do that. But at least we know now, right? And that's kind of what people that do more coaching and mentorship and stuff like this get out of this, is we made the mistake so you don't have to, right? So if you're brand new, I lost millions because I didn't get taught this when I started. So hopefully I'll save you millions, because you can do this earlier on. You might not do it today, but you can do it earlier on. So obviously you've got to first figure out a product to sell or a way to get leads, right? Because if not, nothing else matters. You don't have any customers. But once you're getting people coming through the front door in Disney, it's time to go, okay, well, I have one ride, but my customers really want more than one ride in Disneyland, okay? And what is the most logical ride that they want to go to after they go to the first ride, okay? Well, they like adrenaline rides, so maybe we have an even bigger, faster adrenaline ride after that. Or maybe they also need food for when they go to the park, right? And that's all Disney has done, is built out all these different versions. So for you, figure out your first offer, and then you probably can just do a higher version of that offer, right? You can do a more premium, more expensive, more personalized, whatever you do. If you do coaching, more personalized support, and maybe you sit with them and do some more bits, or they get extra time or extra calls, or you get them to their result faster, right? If you're selling supplements, sell them more of the same supplement. That's the number one upsell for any supplement company, is they sell 3, 6, and 9 of versions of what they just sold, okay? Or if someone buys a fat burner, you can also sell them a pre-workout, right? Or you can sell them something to reduce their appetite, because they're trying to lose weight. They probably want to reduce appetite too. So you're just trying to think of these complementary synergy-based products. Amazon's a great tool for this, right? If you click a product, it shows customers also buy this. Reddit and understanding your avatar is a great way to plan these. And then also reverse engineering what other people in your industry are doing, because they already probably went through 5 years of testing to figure it out, and then you can get inspiration from that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And look, guys, this is how the big boys do it. You know, me and Rudy spent some time, too much time, with Grant Cardone, and look, this is how they operate. This is
Well,
what,
Grant just wants customers for his capital side, right? So
yeah,
Grant doesn't care whatever else happens in his business at this point because he literally just wants hundreds of customers to invest in his capital side. That's how he'll make billions, right? So he's realized that and he has. But if you look at Grant, how many times can you give Grant Cardone money? Think about it. You
yes,
everything because he gets this game. Tony Robbins, he has all these different seminars talking about all these different things. Then he has the diamond tier, the diamond tier, the platinum, and then you go spend time at his house and whatever, right? And I'm sure you can invest with him at this point as well, probably. So they have all these tiers.
yeah. And so here, I'll add to this to give you guys some extra stuff. Who would like to know how I plan to use this for my business in because some of you guys might again, you might not have a lot of employees. So I think this will help out. To put some perspective to this, I have two companies. I have Closed Deals and I have Get Clients. So closeddeals.com and getclients.com. Now, Closed Deals, like we have books, we have the super high end coaching and sales team management and all that. But Get Clients is a very small company because when I retired, that company just kind of went dormant for a while. And I built up Closed Deals, and now I don't really have to do much for Closed Deals. We have like 18, 20 employees over there. Over at Get Clients, we have like two. So Get Clients is where I kind of share some of my thoughts and just make little products in my spare time. So Legacy University is one of the products there. So my plan is I create these front end offers. Like I have a new book coming out called The Perfect Lead Magnet Script. I might take a workshop, like one of these workshops that we do here for you, and I might sell that workshop for say $47 on the front end, or maybe 97 or 197 on the front end on an ad. And then I say, hey, listen, if you like this workshop, we do these workshops all the time in Legacy University. You should join. It's it's a monthly fee, and you don't have to pay for these anymore. You get all of these workshops, and you get this community, yada yada yada. So now my plan is I do the workshops, I take the workshops, I use them as front end, some of the workshops, I use them as front end offers. Then you come into Legacy University and now you pay monthly. And then when you're in Legacy University, what we do is we're going to start doing 1-day implementation workshops where we take one thing that you need to get done, one thing that you need to get done in your business, and we go on a Zoom workshop, and we click by click, point by point, walk you through doing it so that by the end of the workshop, it's done instead of a course. And we did this for a product we had called the Auto Money Bots, where we help people create these automated call setting chatbots. And so we're going to start selling that. And so now, and Grant Cardone does something similar. He has workshops. So he has a $97 a month like membership. And then instead of selling more courses, he sells 1-day workshops. And the reason for that is, and Rudy, I'm sure you'll agree, there's this concept that a lot of people in marketing don't understand. It's you zig when they zag. And everyone's selling course after course after course, info product after info product after info product. And a lot of people are getting a little bit fatigued now with courses, because you get buy a course, it's like a 6 to 8 week course, you get 6 to 8 weeks. You get the thing done in 1 day. So that's a zag.
Well, we did the same because about 2 years ago, I'd sold courses for 8 years, and that's why we did this stupid done for you ads for 97. Because I go, how can I create something so like no one's ever done before? And I go, well, done for you is always super expensive. How can I do it super cheap, right? And now lots of people have copied this idea. I think I was one of the first, but it's crushed it. We've sold, I think, 20,000 people on it in the last 2 years.
Wow, that's a great offer.
Yeah.
Wow, 20,000 people. you're gonna have to shoot me a message and tell me how you do that.
I mean, there's no like AI or anything. We legit have like 12, 15 employees. That's all they do. And I lose a bunch of money on it. But obviously it's built my brand, and we've scaled the ads, and we've survived over the last 2, 3 years when, I mean, a lot of the course guys have been knocked out, and they couldn't sell anymore. So.
Wow. And that's the thing, man. It's and to sum this up into a framework for you guys, the zig when they zag is, if you can take something, if you can get the same result that people are looking for, but you can get it faster, it has to be better, faster, or cheaper. It doesn't have to be all three, but it has to be one of them.
Yeah.
And you can do it where just take the delivery method of, so people want to do XYZ. So they buy courses on how to do XYZ, but now they get sick of buying courses. So what's the course? The course is simply the delivery method. So now you think, okay, how can I get them the same result, solve the same problem they're looking to solve, but do it with a different method of delivery, right? And that method of delivery touches on the pain point that the common method of delivery is exhausting the market. And by the way, guys, that's just in the internet marketing field. Courses are not saturated in other markets. It's only our market. Nobody in like dog training is like, I buy too many courses. That's a marketer thing. So it's important to look at your market and your audience as well.
Yep.
So
so you have a storm over there?
I do.
Dude, it's crazy because I saw it getting dark when I was presenting, and now if you guys don't know, I live 20 minutes north of Dan. So like now it's getting super dark here because I guess it's heading on its way up.
Oh, so that you see, yeah, that's right.
It's like Dan the Weatherman, right? It's like Dan the Pizza Boy, and now it's Dan the Weatherman. So that could be
There is an actual weatherman called Dan Henry. Did you know that?
There we go.
If you Google Dan Henry, it'll say
That's
one
funny.
of the results is meteorology.
That was your true calling in life, I guess. You just went into this marketing stuff.
Oh yeah. That I should have stuck with the weather. Dude, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. You are the man. Thank you, and we should have dinner sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, hope you got something out of that big vision, stuff, plus some tactics in the ad manager. And yeah, any of you guys need, just hit me up. Dan, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. And yeah, take care, guys. If you see me in red, come say hi at an event. Thanks.
All right. See you guys.
Guys,
Bye, guys.
Take care, everyone.